Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 action horror movie Nazi Overlord, not to be mistaken with the recent cinema release Overlord. This is of course the obligatory low budget cash grabbing that's following hot on the heels of that cinema release Overlord. And this is a film that primarily stars, well, Tom Sizemore and Dominic Swain are the two names you're likely to recognise in this movie. And this movie focuses on a group of American soldiers who are sent behind enemy lines in Romania to basically rescue a British scientist and bring her back. Now, once they get behind enemy lines, I'm trying to recreate the story for you. It's not easy. They realise things aren't as they seem. They are pegged in by the Germans, caved in by the Germans. They manage to get out and they manage to put some kind of plan together to spring the doctor from this poorly guarded castle that may well hold the secret to the Nazis ending the war. But there's nobody guarding it, but we won't go into that. Right, so that's kind of the story that we get here, guys. Now, I suspect this movie actually started off with a different title, but they thought, ooh, Overlord, a movie about the evil Nazis experimenting on people. That's kind of what our movie's about. Ooh, I know, guys, we'll call ours Nazi Overlord. Ha-ha, that'll trick them into watching it. This film, unsurprisingly, guys, is bad. This is an asylum film. It is not a good film. Now, there are some bad films that border into the territory of so bad it's good, and this kind of gets there sometimes, because I did have quite a lot of fun watching this film because it is so bad. I did find myself laughing unintentionally at great parts of this film. It's so poorly written, so constructed. But as a film, it's a complete failure. There's no other way to say it, guys. I'll give you a couple of examples of some of the terrible stuff that goes on in this film. The effects are pretty bad in regards to the explosion and fire effects. When they land behind enemy lines and they're fired upon almost immediately, they just stand out in the open with their rifles firing in any direction. They don't attempt to take cover. Clearly they had nobody on set to advise them in regards to any kind of military tactics, but you wouldn't think you'd need advice to take cover, but they don't do it. The characters are so poorly written, you don't know who's who in the unit apart from the captain. And they try to add a storyline at the beginning of two soldiers who went AWOL, and they give it a second chance and put in this unit. And you kind of think, well, that might lead somewhere. They might kind of redeem themselves and do really heroic stuff. But when they actually get behind it, you don't know who's who. You don't know which of those two are the ones that went AWOL. So you really, it's pointless. Another character is very, very claustrophobic when they get trapped in a cave. That's clearly obvious. However, he had no problem, really, being convinced to crawl through a tiny crawl space to get out of this claustrophobic cave. The captain can't speak German. However, he goes to this German tent dressed as a German to seek medical attention because he's been bitten by a snake. Can't understand a word of German, and this guy in German says to him, oh, the operation starts tonight. And then when he meets up with his men again, he happily communicates to his men, oh yes, the scientist is in this castle and the operation starts tonight, but he can't speak a word of German. This is the kind of stuff that this film gives you in regards to it's so poorly written, it's hilarious. Good points. Well, it's very tongue-in-cheek, it's fairly self-aware, and it is a lot of fun in regards to it's funny in a kind of unintentional way. And at least the Germans speak German in this film. It's not Americans putting on terrible German accents, which I will give it props for. There's a twist in this film that you can see coming a mile away, and there's no horror in this film, really, until the last 10 or 15 minutes. And even then, you struggle to call it horror. And it's not zombies or anything, even though they try and crowbar a couple of zombie type scenes in the film. And Tom Sizemore, as you may well suspect, is nothing more than a glorified cameo in this film. He's in it very briefly at the beginning and he's in it very briefly at the end. That can't be a surprise to anybody that's, you know, seen him on the credits and the poster for this film. And on the poster it shows him holding a machine gun as if he's part of the team. Well, he's not part of the team, so don't go into this film if you're a huge Tom Sizemore fan. Not that I think there are many of them out there, but thinking he's in this film because he isn't. And the ending is moronic. When you piece everything together, in the ending that they give you, it's one of those endings that really wants to put your foot through the screen. It's a terrible ending. Suitable for the movie, I suppose you could argue. So yeah, guys, no surprise here. This is a 3 out of 10. It's a terrible movie with some fun elements in it that'll give you a laugh and a giggle if you want to watch this with your mates, having a few beers. It's fun in that sense, but other than that, it's not a film to be taken seriously, because they don't give us a seriously well made film here, guys. It's terribly low budget, terribly made, terribly written, terribly acted, terrible effects, terrible story, but pretty tongue-in-cheek and some fun elements here if you want to have a giggle. So there you go, guys. Nazi Overlord. I would recommend you go and watch actually Overlord in the cinema and then watch this for a giggle afterwards, maybe. Thank you for watching, everybody. I shall see you next time on Screen Stars.